Hi, and welcome to Securely's Safety Console User Interface Introduction video. Today I'm going to be walking you through our new console UI for the safety section of our product, and we're going to talk about the web interface and the various widgets within that web interface and what each of the different features do. When you first log into Securely, either using a Microsoft Office 365 Global Administrator account or a Google Super Administrator, you are landed on our dashboard page. You'll also notice that our new UI is also available, which is called Nucleus. And we're actually going to proceed to Nucleus now. Once the UI is loaded, you'll notice that you land on the dashboard page. The dashboard page basically exists to populate statistics about what your devices that are protected by Securely are doing. Top blocked sites, top sites visited, and so on and so forth. Most of the navigation within the UI is performed on the left-hand side. You'll notice that there's a dashboard button all the way down through our 24 service. There's also some unique account settings that can be accessed from the right-hand panel, and we'll go over those two a little bit later in this video. Our first stop in the UI is the activity section, which is the bulk of your reports. This section is broken down into different buckets, different sets of data, and you also have access to a full-blown reporting engine. You'll notice that the bulk of the navigation takes place on the left-hand side under Activities. Activities range from block data, allowed data, or flag data, which is Securely's artificial intelligence, flagging things that might need your attention. You can search by user, keyword, or account, and there's also a way to drill down by category and even policy. Live data is usually looked at from a reporting perspective if you're searching for something quick, but you can also generate reports on the fly. You'll notice that there's a blue reporting engine button on the right-hand side where you can download reports, and this actually lets you grab a more granular and centralized report depending on what you're looking for. These reports can also be scheduled to administration, and we're going to go over that a little bit later. From our activity section, we proceed to our policy editor. Policy editing is where the bulk of the content filtering rules are configured. We have everything from a global settings, which contains major account settings, such as what you're going to display on your block page, whether or not you're going to force things to log in with some of our products like our DNS and our SmartPack solution, and even device tracking and Active Directory integration if that's what your choice is to do. The global section also contains a global allow and deny. It should be noted that sites that are added to the global allow or deny are completely bypassed by Securely. They will not be logged, and most of our products, such as DNS and SmartPack, and globally allowing something supersedes all other policies in the web interface. We also give customers a default policy. The default policy is basically a catch-all. If you don't map any other student or user to a particular policy, the default policy exists to at least do some level of content filtering. You'll notice that each policy has its own settings, such as forcing the major search engines to be in safe mode, locking down YouTube, and even keyword scanning can be enabled on a per policy basis. This template follows each policy kind of the same. Each policy has a settings section, a categories section for blocking particular categories, an allow and deny list, and we're also introducing some YouTube controls. Custom policies can also be created. You don't have to go through the default policy. Custom policies can consist of just a generic policy that you want to apply, such as you want a specific policy for high school, middle school, or elementary school students. Or you can do special things, such as an IP-based policy, which is basically setting a policy based on the user or device's exit IP address. These policies are actually mapped to individuals by either their Active Directory or Google OU structure, depending on which customer you are. The basic principle here is you're going to create a policy, And then when the user logs in and gets authenticated, the system looks at the map and sees which policy should be applied to that user. Policies are very simple to be mapped to OUs, and you can move any policy or any particular OU to a specific policy at any time. Securely also supports custom groups now. Just like when we create a custom policy and tie it to an OU, there might be a need for a custom group. A custom group allows you to create a group of individuals and tie it to a very specific policy. The example we like to use here is maybe you have a high school policy, but you want a custom policy that allows social media for a group of maybe 7 children. This gives you the capability to do the custom policy and then add those users to that on top of the regular policy that you might already have created. Next is our staff tab. Our staff tab contains 2 major facilities here. We have an admin group and we have a faculty group. Now, by default, if you're a global administrator in 365 or you're a super admin in Google, you get default access to the Securely Safety Console. However, if you're in a larger environment or you want a more secure environment, you can actually lock that down and list specific admins, which is what this section is for. Faculty groups is where we configure alerts. Now we're going to do another video explaining how these are configured, but essentially faculty groups are configured so that we can set up which alerts the users that are part of the faculty are going to get, what org units they have access to, and what kind of alerts they're going to receive. Even thresholds of some of our different products like Auditor can be set for how confident the system is that they should receive an alert. Next up is our parent tab. We're going to do a separate video on this, but the basic gist of this is Securely provides a way to allow parents parental controls and reporting access to what kids are doing on their securely protected devices. And we're going to go more in depth on that in a later video. Next up is our Auditor button. Just like we monitor web traffic, it is also possible for Securely to monitor email for both Exchange, Gmail, OneDrive, Google Drive, and the alerts can also be configured to go from here as well. As you'll notice under the Activities tab, I can sort the traffic by Gmail, by Google Docs, and by Google Drive images. This system also allows you to manage your OU structure to tell the system which OUs you're going to scan for. Some schools scan all of their Google Drive environment. Some just want to scan for their students. So it is configurable at that level. Last is our 24 service. If you want Securely to be able to put an extra set of eyes on your data, including the web activity and auditor logs, we have a service for this, and we'll be doing a later video that goes more in depth on this configuration. The last thing we'll look at today is some of our other account settings, such as the ability to look at the audit logs, things that have been changed inside your web interface. If you have a lot of people that are managing Securely at one time, you can keep track of what's been changed, when it was changed, and who changed it. And there's also some account settings that you have access to, such as the default alerts, the logo that is displayed on the block page, and even what schedule reports have been generated. Thank you for watching the introduction video to the Securely Safety Console interface.